Hello, I'm Kiran and welcome to my woodworking channel. I recently completed 3 long-awaited upgrades for my Bosch Glide compound miter saw. 2 of the 3 upgrades are focused towards dust collection, and the third upgrade is about having a zero clearance throat plate to get cuts without tear out. Dust collection is very important for my shop because the miter saw is one of the main culprits of having dust in my really small woodworking shop. And also, since the saw pretty much butts up against the wall, I don't have additional ability to add dust pans or extractors behind the wall or underneath the saw. So that's why it's important that I build this dust housing to capture as much dust as possible in an enclosed space and then use the dust extractor to get that out. Although my build process is focused towards Bosch Glide compound miter saw, these principles can be applied for pretty much all the miter saws that are available in the market today. Also, these are not my original ideas. There are several people who have done similar improvements. I just am aggregating the best of the best, if you will, and incorporating it for my shop. One of my favorite videos that covers the improvements for this compound miter saw is made by Dan Pattison, a Canadian woodworker. I believe he borrowed several ideas from John Peters. So I'm basically a dude who's following another dude who originally got it from a different dude. Thumbs up if you got that reference. In the description, I'll add links to the videos that are referenced, and you should definitely check them out. So let's get into it. The first improvement that I made is this zero clearance plate. I first attached the blue painter's tape on top of the existing throat plates. I got it as close as I could with the tape and then came back with a box cutter to cut out the excess to perfectly match the profile of the plate, as well as marked out the screw locations. And then I carefully lifted the tape and attached it to this piece of 1/4-inch lumber that I had. The lumber wasn't edge jointed, so I cut off the 2 sides of the plate with the track saw to get them parallel. Rounded off the curved areas with the bandsaw and sanded them to the perfect fit. I removed the existing throat plate pieces and did a test fit with the new piece. I had to make a few light passes of the table saw to get it to perfectly fit. And then I got it out, added a big countersink, and then added 2 smaller through holes and connected them with a chisel. And then I mounted the new throat plate onto the saw, removed the tape, and did the first cut. This is a great improvement because it helps prevent tear outs. And the second one is obviously this dust shroud. I measured the compound miter saw at different positions, straight, 2 different bevels, and 2 different miters. And then I roughly cut out a piece of plywood. And then finally cut the exact pieces at the crosscut sled for the carcass build. Once the pieces were cut, I simply assembled the box. Glue and pin nails to hold the box temporarily, and then I came back with screws. I also cut and attached the back brace. This will help elevate the box because I have a very compact space. I temporarily mounted the box and did a test cut without any dust collection to see how the dust was being dispersed. So the reason for this setting up is you want to get it passively as close to what you can get. Your dust collector might have million CFMs. That doesn't mean that you go with a bad design and leave it all up to the dust collector. Help it a little ways, like use the dust elbows and things like that that come with the saw itself. So the dust elbow that I have seems to do a decent job. I see that it's praying in this back direction. So I want to have it all go to the back, and then maybe now I'll start the front cover design this way. And it's also kind of elevated at an angle. That's because I'm limited by the space that I have in my small shop. I don't have a big bed here where I can lay it flat. So I added these little two pieces to lift it up off the table so I can still set this up like this. So I'm going to design these specific cutouts and possibly look into attaching them with magnets. I used pieces of cardboard to temporarily create the profile that is needed to cover the front. I did the exact fit with the blue painter's tape and cut off the excess where needed. Did a few test cuts along the way to make sure that I was capturing the dust from all directions. I had to admit that I got a little carried away and ended up making this kind of a continuous piece. I don't think it's necessary to be this precise. You don't even have to do this top cover. It'll still prevent the dust from blowing at your face. It's mostly the side panels that prevent the dust from blowing back. If you have an active dust collection, it'll catch most of it. But I was committed. And something tells me if you made this so far in the video, you probably are like me, so have at it. I cut an 1/8" ply and then transfer the profile from the cardboard to the plywood and then marked out the lines exactly using a ruler. Then proceeded to cut all the straight lines with my track saw and curved lines with the jigsaw. Quick sanding to make sure there are no splinters, and then temporarily put the front piece on the frame and drilled a hole through to mark the locations to attach the magnets. Using initially drilled hole as a reference, I also drilled a new hole for the magnet on the front cover. These two magnets temporarily help hold the front cover as I drill more holes to attach magnets. I used the sticky tape that came with the magnet to attach them. You could also use epoxy if you choose. And it was a perfect fit. And then the last one is the dust boot extension here that captures the dust closer to the wood surface, as well as sealing up the elbow and directing the elbow to go back instead of on the side. I detached the dust boot from the saw as it was awkward to work with it attached to the saw, and removed the blue tape holders that I had temporarily attached. And then I used the Gorilla tape to extend the dust boot as well as seal all the gaps in the dust elbow. There was a lot of trial and error to get the shape exactly right. Being patient is the key here to make sure that you pick up maximum amount of dust from the surface. Once I finalized the shape, I redirected the dust elbow to go to the back and attached the dust boot back to the saw. With that done, this project is complete. And it's time to do a quick test. I cut a series of small blocks to make sure there was absolutely no tear out and the dust was being directed as I intended. Finally, the proof is in the pudding. As you can see, the cut picked up everything, and wow, what a difference. There's a little bit residual dust from the time before. And now I'll put this elbow going to the back. It doesn't fit perfectly, but it works. It just takes it from the dust boot and just shoots it directly into that elbow. So things like zero clearance throw plate and the dust shrouds are obviously specifically designed to the opening of this saw where the motor is located and how it travels. But if you watch the video, you can clearly see how you can take the template, how you can make it so that it fits your saw perfectly. I hope you enjoyed this build process and maybe are able to take some pointers that you can implement in your own compound miter saw, or if you have the same exact compound miter cell, you know kind of roughly how the opening should look like and how to make the zero clearance plate. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'll see you on the next one.